Coming up in the Michigan Football Report, you asked, I am delivering. I have painstakingly researched and called all the sources I could possibly find out there to figure out the 5 most realistic and best candidates to replace Jim Harbaugh should this season just completely unravel. We've got about 26 and a half hours till Michigan faces Wisconsin at home under the lights. It's my top 5 Michigan football coaching candidates if Jim Harbaugh is not the coach next year. Coming up right now. I would like to thank you guys so much. We've had really since Michigan's first game on October 24th, we've had 3.5 weeks or so, 3 weeks of extraordinary growth in this channel, both from views and subscribers. Have had our best back-to-back months ever with subscribers. So help us get to that 10,000 goals and get you up a level on YouTube, get to do cool things. Maybe we go live from time to time on the channel. Get us to 10,000. We're just about to hit 9,500, up from 9,000 just a week ago. So thank you for those who have subscribed. If you haven't yet, or if it's your first time, we have daily Michigan football videos, no fluff, straight facts coming at you. Subscribe to the Michigan Football Report. I am James Yoder, your host, as always, of the #1 most watched Michigan football program on the planet Earth. I've got 5 coaching candidates for you, and they are not, I think at least 2 or 3 of them are not the same names that the blog boys and your local sports writers are putting out there on Twitter that say might be the candidates Michigan pursues if Jim Harbaugh is not the coach. I'm not predicting Harbaugh is going to be fired. I don't want to hear any pushback. Harbaugh's our coach. I hope he turns it around, folks. I really do. But we've got to be realistic here. The Ohio State game is 29 days away. After that game, Michigan could have a lame duck head coach. We could be starting a coaching search 29 days from now, maybe 36 days if you count the championship week game after that. So, my number 5 candidate, a name not many of you are familiar with, Brian Daboll. I think that's how it's pronounced. That's how I'm pronouncing it. Number 5 on my list. Who is this guy? He's the offensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bills. In my opinion, the most surprising offense in the NFL this year. Their quarterback went from a guy who could barely hit the broadside of a barn. A lot of people call him maybe a Joe Milton kind of player where he is incredibly strong-armed, but not as accurate as you might see. He's turned that offense around in his 3rd season as their offensive coordinator, but his claim to fame, 2017, he was the co-offensive coordinator, QB coach at Alabama. Jalen Hurts took him to an undefeated season. Then Tua, or they had 1 loss, whatever it is, he was the guy who mentored Tua, came in there as a true freshman in the second half, got them to the national championship in that season. Prior to that, though, a lot of experience in New England, Patriots tight ends coach, offensive assistant. He has a long history in the NFL. He is, what we say he was, 46 years old, looking through my notes here, 45 years old. 3rd season as an NFL offensive coordinator, and has put together one of the toughest and strongest offenses in the NFL, turned Josh Allen into a marginal NFL quarterback into an NFL, in a lot of ways, superstar in just a few years with him. So he is my number 5 candidate. My number 4 is a name you have heard. He's been rumored as a potential Harbaugh replacement for several years now. He's been inconsistent, right? And I've got some Big 12 sources that are in this room with me currently helping produce the show that I say, you don't want that guy. He can't get it done. He's overrated is what they just told me, the producer in my ear. But he's got Ohio experience, former coach at Toledo. Now, he is young, right? That's 40 years old. So he had a head coaching job at Toledo in his early to mid-30s, and I think that's pretty good. He got 2012, he got the job at Toledo. So he was only 32 when he took the job at Toledo. So he has had a nice career trajectory. Bowling Green prior to that, but Mount Union is kind of where he cut his chops as a coach. 2005 to 2006, their offensive coordinator and O-line coach, national championship team, Matt Campbell. He has been proven to do 2 things that Jim Harbaugh hasn't done. He has punched up a weight class, okay? He has certainly been able to beat teams that were more talented than him, ranked higher than him over the course of his time at Oklahoma State and in some regards to Toledo. And, frankly, he has put together a consistent offense at Iowa State. What did I say? Oklahoma, yeah. He has put together a consistently strong offense. Now, some people will say, oh, it sucks in big games time to time, but I always find Iowa State and Toledo, where I went to college prior to it, I found his offenses to be very, very strong and exciting and, frankly, not boring or repetitive like Jim Harbaugh has right now with Josh Gass. But I want to ask you guys, before we get into the top 3 candidates, who is your dream candidate to replace Harbaugh? And you can be creative with this. You guys don't have to say, well, we can't get him because of this reason. If you want to say Daboll, Sweeney, go ahead. If you want to say Nick Saban, we told you about Urban Meyer. That's a pipe dream, but it would be a good idea, right? I don't want to hear anything from Michigan fans about not wanting Urban Meyer because you would be crazy to think that. Tell me who your ideal dream candidate is, because for most of us, from about 2010 to recently, our dream candidate was Jim Harbaugh, but it didn't work out for it. So let me know down in the comments. Number 3 on the list is another guy. I said Urban yesterday. Here's a guy that you say, no way we can take him. He's a Buckeye. He lost to Michigan. Can't have Luke Fickell. But let me talk about Luke Fickell. Back-to-back 11-win seasons at Cincinnati, right? Back-to-back 11-win seasons, 2018, 2019. He's not that old. He's 47 years old. He's learned under the two guys who have changed this rivalry. Who were his mentors? Jim Tressel, Urban Meyer. Wouldn't you want a guy who spent, I have to look at the exact amount of time here, but like he was at Ohio State from 2002 to 2016. Special teams, linebacker, co-DC, interim head coach. We all know about that one. 2011, he was the coach in that 6-6 season, and then defensive coordinator for 5 seasons, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, under Urban Meyer. I'm sorry, but if you want someone who has the most intimate knowledge and best likelihood to be able to turn this thing around, isn't it Luke Fickell? Now, he's never going to get hired at Ohio State again, in my opinion, because he did the job once, didn't get it, right? He was 1-year interim coach. I doubt he would be a candidate for that exact reason. So why not give him the opportunity that Bo Schembechler got in some ways? Schembechler, Miami, Ohio graduate, coached under Woody Hayes in Miami, Ohio, went to Ohio State and got his grad degree, coached there, went back to Miami, Ohio as the head coach, took all that knowledge from Woody Hayes, went up to Michigan, turned Michigan into the best 20-year stretch in the history. You guys would take Bo Schembechler. I would too. In some ways, Luke Fickell could be the new Bo Schembechler of a new generation. So I think he is a worthy candidate. If we don't get my top 2 that we're going to talk about here in a second, then Luke Fickell is certainly one to consider. But I want to tell you about the game this weekend coming up tomorrow. Michigan, Wisconsin. The Badgers are 4.5-point favorites, which speaks more to the lack of, trust or, confidence that anybody on the planet has in Michigan right now in any sort of big games, and really, in any game at all, because Michigan started off as about even money, and all the money is, no point spread, 1 point, half point. All the bets have come in on Wisconsin this week, and we don't even know who their quarterback is going to be. We don't know who these 14 players or whatever who tested positive that may not play tomorrow. We don't know any of that. So people are just blindly betting against Michigan. 4.5-point favorites are the Wisconsin Badgers. The over-under combined score between both teams is 54. I want you guys, though, to go and predict the score of the game, Michigan versus Wisconsin, tomorrow night on ABC under the lights of the Big House. If you go down in the comments, you tell me the score, you tell me which team is going to win. Do not leave that out. I'm not going to assume you think it's Michigan, not going to assume it's Wisconsin. You've got to say who's going to win. The first one to go down and do it, so don't wait. I will Venmo you $25 if you get it right. Tell me the team, and you were the first one to do it. So go out and do it now. And if you like predicting games, if you think you know more than me, if you think you know more than the sports books, get started with our partner, BetUS, as so many of you have. BetUS is our sports gambling partner. Go to chatsports.com/goblue. It'll redirect you to the website. And you get started with promo code GoBlue. You get 125% deposit bonus when you put money down to bet on football, NFL, NBA draft. You can bet on. You can bet on all kinds of stuff every single day of the week. It's kind of fun, and we do it every day here at Chat Sports. Chatsports.com/GoBlue. Before we get into our number 2 candidate, I'll tell you our new number 2 candidate. It's Bob Stoops, but I'll remind you guys, if you go and predict that score down the bottom, do not edit it, because it says edited, and people try and pull fast ones on us all the time. They'll put a score, they'll go in after the game and edit it. Hey, I won, I predicted the score, Yoder. I don't think so. You did not predict the score, so don't even try it with me, okay? Don't you even try it with me. I'm looking at you. I saw you. Yeah, I saw you. Edit button. Don't edit your score prediction, because there have been quite a few shysters over the last couple seasons across all of our 15 channels here at Chat Sports on YouTube that try and do just what you were thinking. Edit in that post to get that $25. Nah, I don't think so. We're not that. We were born tonight, but not last night. My top 5 coaching candidates continue here on the Michigan Football Report. We popped up number 2 for you. It is Bob Stoops. He's been out of the game for, 4 seasons now, but I think Bob Stoops is still a reasonable guy. And I'll tell you the reason that I put him number 2. I'll tell you 2 reasons why I put him number 2. Number 1, I saw him a little over a year ago at the Red River Shootout softball game, right? They do like a celebrity legendary game of all the best Oklahoma players, all the best Texas players. They play just outside of Dallas 2 nights before the game. And I saw Bob Stoops. I could not recognize him. He looked like a 35-year-old. He probably lost 30 pounds from what I expected to him. He looked great. He looked sharp. If you'd have told me a year ago he was 59 years old, I'd say you're crazy, right? There's no way Bob Stoops is 59. So I would have thought at the time he was like maybe 44, 45. He looked like he was 35. I realistically said, okay, I see a couple wrinkles under there. Maybe he's 40, maybe he's 45, 48. He's 59 then, he's 60 now. He looks phenomenal, and he proved he was still interested in coaching by signing up to coach in the XFL this spring. He only got a couple games in before they canceled the entire season. He is one that did a couple things that are phenomenal. One at the highest level, won a national title. I think he was in 3 other national title games. 2, always had maybe the best offense in college football on a consistent year in, year out basis. Multiple Heisman Trophy winners. Jason White won a Heisman Trophy for him. Sam Bradford won a Heisman Trophy for him. And Baker Mayfield won a Heisman Trophy the year after he left. So he had potentially 3 Heisman Trophy quarterbacks. He just missed out in 1 year. And national title games, playoff appearances. I think that Bob Stoops still has it in him. Looks young. He's 4 years older than Harbaugh. He looks at least 10 or 15 years younger than Harbaugh in person. I think Bob Stoops is available to coach. I think the right offer and potentially the guarantees that there will be no outside interference and no stuff. I don't know what the stuff is, but you've heard things that he just got sick of the other stuff at Oklahoma. If that's the case, you can get him focused on football, focused on recruiting. Bob Stoops still has a good 10 to 15 years left in him in coaching at the highest level. But my final one. My final candidate is Joe Brady. Joe Brady? I haven't heard anybody say Joe Brady. Who the hell is Joe Brady, Yoder? Well, you know who I'm talking about. You watched college football last year. Joe Brady is now the offensive coordinator for the Carolina Panthers. At the time, last year, he was the passing game coordinator, the National Assistant of the Year, the Broyles Award winner for National Assistant of the Year in 2019, and he wasn't even the offensive coordinator, the true offensive coordinator for that team, but he revolutionized and turned an offense around to the likes of something I've never seen last year. And you look at the stats for the Carolina Panthers, you see what people are saying them without Christian McCaffrey, their star for almost the entire season, with a 1-year kind of rental quarterback this year. He has turned the Carolina Panthers into a legitimate offense this year in his first year. Now, he is super young, okay? He is not an age veteran. He doesn't have all kinds of experience. 5 years ago, he was Josh Gass's intern at Penn State. He has certainly come up through the ranks. And remember this, last year, him and Josh Gass walked into basically the same situation. An underperforming quarterback, senior, returning to a big-time program that has had kind of an uninspiring offense for years. Josh Gass came in with Shea Patterson, and we all saw what happened there. Joe Brady went into LSU and turned their quarterback into the number 1 pick in the draft, the best offense we've ever seen in the history of major college football. I'll talk about that more in a second, but want to ask you guys one more time. I got some subscribers in my ear. He says we got thousands of you watching right now that have yet to subscribe. I find that, frankly, offensive in some ways. I'm just kidding, but it certainly helps out the show. 10,000 is the goal. YouTube unlocks some new benefits for channels that we can do with you guys once we hit 10,000. So please go and subscribe. It'll help us out. And maybe if you do, Michigan's going to win on tomorrow night against Wisconsin. So more on Joe Brady. He must be the coordinator or the coach. He is now an offensive coordinator. He must be Michigan's next coach. The game is getting younger. He coordinated LSU's passing game in 2019 to, as I said, the greatest offensive performance we've ever seen. His first season with the Panthers has been really good so far. And too young? I say nah. No, he's not too young. And the reason why he's not too young is because Michigan's not going to be the only team, the school, major football program coming for him. It's not just going to be college teams this offseason. Do not be surprised. You're going to say, Joe Brady, he's too young. We can't have a 31-year-old head coach in Michigan. Well, I mean, in some ways, that's the same age that Sean McVay was when he became head coach of the Rams. That's 2 years younger than Lincoln Riley was at Oklahoma when he took the job. But Brady will be 32 by next year, so there'll only 1 year difference. So he'll be older than McVay, about the same age as Lincoln Riley. But if he doesn't get pursued by Michigan or another major college football job, he will be a head football coach in the NFL, probably next year, if not the year after. So don't say he is too young. Don't say he's inexperienced, because that has been proven over the NFL, specifically in the last 3 or 4 years with McVay, with the 49ers and their coach, with several other examples, that a guy can come in, the LaFleur with the Packers, the Bengals head coach. Guys can be in their mid-30s, early 30s, late 30s, with not a ton of experience, not a coordinator for 5, 6, 8, 10 years, and come in and make an instant impact. It is an offensive game, and Joe Brady is the best candidate to build the offense that Michigan needs to beat Ohio State. Again, Joe Brady is my number one candidate. If Harbaugh is not the coach, I don't get to make that decision. But if you had to make the decision, who would be your head coach next year for these Michigan Wolverines? Type JH if it's Jim Harbaugh. Let's stick to it. And if the only option was my number one choice, Joe Brady, you type JB. So JH, keep Harbaugh. JB, I'd rather have Joe Brady as the head coach at Michigan going into the 2021 season. I am going JB. I'm putting my JB hat on, and I am, kind of hooking my boat, hooking my wagon to this offensive guru. And given that him and Josh Gaz basically had a very similar job, wide receivers coach, wide receiver intern 4 years ago, 2016 season, I have no doubt with what they've both done since then that Joe Brady and his former boss, both their former bosses, Joe Moorhead, were much more influential in that Penn State offense and that entire system than Josh Gattis has, given what we've seen under him in now 15 games as Michigan's offensive coordinator. Take a look at these stats. First year coaching with LSU, with a returning quarterback that was okay but not great the prior year in Joe Burrow. LSU in 2019, they had the number one offense in the country, up from the number 58 offense in the country in 2018. 407 yards to 565. I'll repeat that. They had 407 yards a game in 2018, 565.8 in 2019. How about passing? 234 in 2018, 395 per game in the SEC, only surpassed by Washington State and Mike Leach. Rushing, 170. Okay, number 51 in the country. Not too far off from what they did the year prior than him, I'll tell you that. And the number one scoring offense in the country last year, 47.2 points per game. Just for context, I can make the comparison to Josh Gass. I like Gass. I think he potentially could be a good coach. I don't think he's doing a great job with Michigan right now. I think he's way too inconsistent. But last year, under the same circumstances Brady had, again, senior quarterback, kind of lethargic offense, head coach not known for his offense. They both came into the same job in a lot of ways. Michigan, 402 yards per game. You saw what LSU had, 565, number 61 in the country. Passing game, 250 yards for Michigan last year. First, what we saw from LSU, 400, and scoring. And by the way, that was number 48 in the country. Scoring, Michigan, 31.7, number 35 scoring offense in the country versus the almost 50 points a game that LSU put up under Joe Brady. Joe Brady is the only candidate, in my opinion, that can take Michigan to the highest heights of the college football universe, and that is the final word. So my five candidates one more time: Brian Daboll, Matt Campbell, Luke Fickell, Bob Stoops, Joe Brady. 3 guys in their mid-50s there. Mid-40s. Daboll. Campbell's 40 years old. Fickell's in his mid-40s. Bob Stoops is 60. Joe Brady, 31 years old. He'll be 32 by the time the season gets rolling next year as Michigan's head coach, if Jim Harbaugh gets fired. All right, a little different show. Had so many people asking me about my candidates. I had decided to put this out the day before a Wisconsin game. No point in previewing or anything like that because we don't know what's going to happen. Subscribe to the channel here. Make sure you get subscribed to the channel. Get us to 10,000. If you haven't yet, watch a couple videos from earlier in the week. See you guys after the game, Saturday night, Michigan, Wisconsin. Go Blue.